Morning, Brick Maniacs. Brighten my screen a little bit there. Sorry for the video quality. We had quite a few people mention how they missed doing these in the past over these grand openings in California. I know I've heard it on social media before too. So I figured we'd give it another try again here and just do a little live stream, little Q&A action. There's not a ton back online for restocks and whatnot this morning. We have the Spec Ops Humvee back along with a couple of minifigures. So make sure to check out that email, the new releases, or excuse me, the restocks tab, recent reloads on the website to check those out. Otherwise, I'll be here for a while. I'm just kind of starting my morning, brickside chat. We'll answer some questions, talk any and all things Brickmania that you guys want to discuss. I know sometimes these take a little while to get going here and get enough people joined on to have the conversation flow naturally. So we'll wait a little bit until there's some more people joined in. I also know it is a Monday and people have to work and have class and stuff like that. So it's not like it's the most prime time of live streams in the world. But hey, I know there are a lot of people who still tune in for these Monday videos as well. So perfect caliber AUG, huh? Does Will make that? Does Brick Arms have an AUG yet? Probably. Yeah, I think so, actually. That's a good point. Then maybe someday. It's a total possibility. Hello from USA. Stay safe. More Huey variants for kits or instructions. Yeah, I mean, eventually there will be more variants. We already did the standard Huey and then the gunship. So I'd assume there's probably something with the Red Cross going to be showing up at some point or another. All in time. Am I smoking? No, I'm not smoking. I'm drinking coffee. This is my house. But whatever. You make any Korean soldiers? Potentially someday. I mean, all that kind of stuff, it's few and far between when it's away from kind of our bread and butter stuff, but that doesn't mean that we won't eventually get to it or have something that works with it. I know for a fact we have a Korean tanker. So we've got that covered, at least for now. World War I biplanes. I can't remember. I think there's at least one or two new ones on for this year. And then a couple of restocks. Otherwise, a lot just recently got retired too. All right, now this chat's starting to liven up. Very, very cool. I remember I'm monitoring this by myself, so I will do my best to keep up with that. Service dogs with the Marines. Well, I know we did Cairo with this most recent batch of the, I know it's not Marine SEALs, but we did, and then we've done a service dog in the past. I want to say that's Army though. Not 100% sure what's on that jacket or the vest that he wears, but it's pretty cool. It's a neat little dog. Some more Swedish kits. I suppose the last one we did the S tank, and that's Norwegian. Then we did the CV90, which isn't the CV90 is a Swedish design, correct? We just did a Norwegian variant because ASAP did it. I want to say. So you could do mod there in theory. Would you ever do minifigs that happen to resemble SEALs from the SEAL team show? I got to be honest, guys. I know a lot of people call that kind of stuff out when they want to see our stuff resemble various things from the media. That's just not what our team uses for their sources. Almost ever, because it's rarely correct. And that's what they care about first and foremost. I mean, you guys know Landon, you know how he treats camouflage and how he tries to get everything right. And the same goes with the designers as well. So it's just very rarely does that stuff coincide. And you see when it does, because usually we're pretty tongue in cheek about it, Saturday matinee play set, not withholding. A European store in general, I think, is still a ways out. So we have to move slowly with the brick and mortar. make sure that it's all feasible. I know you guys are excited. We're super pumped to see the turnout. I mean, we're very motivated to keep going and to keep bringing these stores around. But it's a slow burn. But yeah, like I was saying, Spec Ops Humvee. I want to say it's the mechanized infantry as well back in action. Let me check here real quick. Get to my list. Yeah, we got the Barbarossa German mechanized infantry, Barbarossa German officer, and the perfect caliber Car 98, as well as the Flak 36 and the Spec Ops Humvee. Now back on brickmania.com for this morning's restock. Like I said, not a ton of stuff. Most of that has to do with the fact that our production schedule is finally catching up to when we released the Project Ukraine benefit kits and are continuing to do so. So you will see kind of some interesting Mondays and Fridays worked in here a little bit, but we're doing our best to keep things normal. It's been quite an undertaking to try to continue to run our normal production line as well as this production line, and then obviously streamline that using the pre-orders so that we can get that cash to where it needs to go as soon as possible. Last I checked in with Dan, we were up over $84,000, which is awesome to hear. It's definitely been an interesting way navigating that, but for as much work as it's been on our end, it's nothing compared to what's going on over there. So a very cool initiative to be a part of. So cool. All right. I'm glad to see so many people joining in here. Like I said, go ahead and fire off your questions into the chat. I will do my best to get to them in time. Otherwise, we are just here talking about all things Brickmania, going over the stuff that is back. The reason I'm doing this because we had some people mention that they missed having a chance to be able to just kind of have this Q&A back and forth, and I figured a Monday. I don't know. I like you guys. Pretty decent way to start my week. F-15E on digital instructions this year. Why did I think that already hit digital instructions? There's got to be a plan for that somewhere. You won't have to wait too terribly long because that's been out of work for a while. Maybe it could either be elements or maybe some sticker stuff that we're trying to get right. Could be a work in progress. Any chance to build a normal AC-130J? You know, I think the AC-130 is gonna hang off of the production list for a little while. I think we're just getting through the last of the ones that we had previously made, and that is a heavy undertaking of a kit for any designer who's going to take it on, even if it's just an update from the existing kit. So I think that'll be something that maybe we revisit at some point, absolutely, but it'll be a minute. Let me get myself a better camera for at least at home. It's pretty brutal. Pretty brutal. Check out with Brichisimo for all things delivery into anywhere in Europe. Perfect caliber AK-103s. That would depend on if we have an AK-103 to make into perfect caliber. Remember that we are printing on a premium Brick Arms product at that point, and souping up the awesomeness. Korean DMZ guard. Surprisingly enough, I actually hear that figure mentioned quite a bit. I do believe it is retired, but I don't think that any copies have hit the vault. Maybe one. So if we find other ones, that would be where to keep your eye on. Otherwise, there's no reason that it can't be updated to in the future if there's enough interest. So keep an eye out for that as well. Best thing you can do is stay tuned in, especially for stuff that's niche, guys. Stuff that is like specific to something that you're really looking for. If it's not something that's like if it's not like a Blackhawk or whatever, something that we're obviously going to lean into and do different variants of. The best thing you can do is just kind of tune in when you can. Like do what you're doing right now. Ask questions. We'll do our best to answer them, and then hopefully we all get there eventually. I mean, we're not planning on being done with this anytime soon. So odds are we'll get to it when we can. Any new micro brick battle coming out? You should check out Dan's Instagram. There's some interesting stuff going on this weekend. he got into some World War brick stuff a little bit, so that could be the debut of some of that new stuff. Brickmania store in Hong Kong. I'll come visit. I mean, that's maybe stuff might have to get cleaned up a little bit over there first. CV90 to digital instructions. Well, it will come when it's retired. I'm not. It probably is retired. Actually, that's a good point. So eventually, there's a lot to get to. I mean, when you think about the instruction side of things, guys, not only are we working to get kits that are retired set up as digital instructions, but then there's this entire backlog of kits that have been retired for years and years and years that people also want to see on digital instructions because they want to build the classics. And not to mention the fact that some of those older kits are a lot more friendly to people's personal brick collections because most people's brick collections don't look like Dan's. Just throwing that out there. And even less like Brickmanias. I mean, holy smokes. So, yeah, BKM in Orlando. You better manage the place then. Just saying. You're going to need employees. Look into 145 models. Probably not. That's really, really close to 135th. So, but maybe. I don't want to speak too much for the design team. Sorry, I do have to do some work here simultaneously while being on streaming with you guys. A UK store in the future. You know, I have no idea where to even think our first European location would be. We'd probably coordinate with Brickizimo on that because they're awesome. Pop-up shops. I mean, the pop-up shops are kind of like what we do at shows. So Bricking Bavaria, that could have been a pop-up shop. You know, Bovington Tank Museum, another example of a pop-up shop. Chicago in June. Oh, you mean like me specifically? Because yes, we will be there. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be there after World War Brick. Um, I'd love to. You know me, I'll get on the road whenever. But there will definitely be people there. We will have a sizable group of people hanging out. They're going to be displaying models, good pizza too. That's another thing I should mention, you guys. If you guys want to have any questions about World War Brick, now I have not actually been to a World War Brick, but I've been involved in this year's or in the planning process over the past like 3 years now. So if you have any questions on that or what to expect, I'll do my best to answer those questions as well. And then what Marty is talking about in the chat, after World War Brick, the weekend of the 18th is Brick World in Chicago, which is a huge event. Super awesome situation there. Well, we happen to have a store in Schaumburg, which is very, very close to Brick World. And so we are going to do a Saturday night pizza party, basically. We're going to have a good time off at the store. We'll have some designers there. We'll have some cool models. We'll talk about stuff. We'll order in a bunch of pizza, talk all things Brickmania, Lego, whatever you want to do. You know, show up and hang out. Consider yourselves invited. I do not believe the F-16 is retired yet, so it'd be a while after that before before that came back. And then remember, World War Brick is the 11th and 12th of this year in June. There are no weekend passes available anymore. It is only day passes, but that's okay because day passes still get you access to come in and see all the builds. You know, there's still people there. It'll definitely be a good time, worth checking out. I'm really, really excited to see what people have built. If our mock contests have been any indication as to the level of military building talent that is out there, it's going to be absolutely awesome. So, and we're also really looking forward to some of the guests that we have showing up. We'll have some people doing some cool displays, talking about their displays. I think we have like stuff like Crazy Arms, whatever, going to be featured there as well. So there's some cool stuff. Not to mention the exclusives. Like holy smokes! I mean, you're going to get, you know, the weekend pass holders are the people who get the first cracks at the exclusive figure, exclusive kits, stuff like that, which I'm not going to talk about what they are yet, but just know that they're there. And then when it comes to the day pass people, then if there's extras, they will go down to the GHQ store or to the World War Brick store, which will be down at the end where the displays are, and then you get a crack at all of that stuff. If you have a day pass, obviously. So, and then there's a charity auction, a whole bunch of other amazing things that happen throughout that week. There's a micro brick battle tournament, but that is only for weekend pass holders. You could watch if you are a day pass holder. Um, but there's only select games that the day pass holders can actually participate in because the weekend pass holders are the priority with that stuff. Nope, losing track of my chat here. Are we ever going to restock the Overlord brick sticker pack? Yes, we will. I promise we will. Our paper print place is very overloaded. They do the best they can, and they kick butt. Favorite Brickmania kits, boy, probably the big flashy ones. I mean, come on, who can say no to PT 109, right? Otherwise, when you get a little smaller, like I've said before, I love the half tracks. Dan's half tracks are sweet. That was really cool. Paul, I love your mock idea. Let's see it at future World War bricks. Pack 40, pack 34 tires as a single add-on pack. Hmm, maybe we'd have to look into that. Hmm. Sold separate fast helmets are definitely a very common question. It's definitely something we're working towards. I mean, there's nothing stopping us from eventually getting there, but we don't necessarily want to do it where we can only restock it every once in a while and or don't have the capacity to get everybody who they want, because when we do that, it's going to be a big deal. People are going to be excited about it, and so we want to be able to meet that demand when we're able to, and we're still figuring out what that path looks like. Just all there is to it. Is there any info on displaying a mock if you're a weekend pass holder? I've not been able to find information about that. Hmm. I thought the email that gets sent to you contained information about your display stuff, but I will check into that this week. So that would definitely be something people would want to know. Because yeah, I know that's something that I would have no idea about. I've been to shows, but not to World War Brick, because the last time was what, 2016, Anaheim. Sound like a great time. Yeah, we'll do our absolute best to have a World War Brick every year. Is what it sounds like, anyways. The A10 would probably would fall into a kit that we would need to make sure we have official permission for, which we don't at this time. So that would be the reason we don't have an A10 currently, anyways. On the May calendar, this week sometime, I have to get our artist all the information they need to get it finalized. I know you guys don't want to keep seeing the same blurbs over and over again, so I got to have time to make sure those are updated. Plus, we're past the grand openings now, which if you guys, if you guys got those, or if you guys got there, it was a great time. Definitely looking forward to more of that kind of stuff. So we're gonna have some other awesome events coming up this year. Virginia is moving. If you guys didn't know, it's just across the parking lot, so it's not a significant move, but they are moving. Um, End of May, maybe. We'll see exactly what that time looks like. But point is, come Brick Fair, Virginia, odds are that store will be in a different location, and then we will be having our event in a little different spot. Not Brick Fair, obviously. Brick Fair still at the Expo Center. We've been to Lego events in Europe, a couple of them actually. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you to all of you new people who are joining. If we could keep having people who want to ask questions, I can keep this running. Please do not spam with questions though, because I may moderate this thing slowly, but I will clean up the chat if I'm getting spammed. So, like I said, we've been talking all things World War Brick. We've been talking a little bit about what's back today. We've been talking about pretty much anything that comes to your mind, what's available. The reason I'm doing this again, once again, because we've had some people who have talked about missing the opportunities to just kind of have a little casual back and forth conversation and figure out what's going on. And I figured it was a decent way to start the week. I know people have to work and people have class and all that kind of stuff, but it seemed like a good time to be able to do that. And I'm good. Thank you. We went to Bricking Bavaria, and then there was it was a Beyond the Brick and Brickmania mashup at the Bovington Tank Museum. Um, and that was another. I mean, it was a Lego event because there was Lego displays and everything going on there. So not an official one, obviously, because we can't go to those. But the cool ones, we can go to the cool ones like Bricking Bavaria. That was awesome. First time I'd have ever been in Germany. First timer for Landon, I believe, as well. Dan's been everywhere, so it wasn't a first time for him. Um, but yeah, that was really, really cool. Everyone was crazy, crazy nice, very, very welcoming. We saw some neat things. Funny to see so many people too over there. That was actually a great example of like some of the original Brickmaniacs, because a lot of them were very, very familiar with Dan's original blacksmith shop, which was cool. Because there's a lot of people that we meet here that are fairly new that have gotten into, especially since we started kicking up the modern stuff and starting to create more modern kits and leaning into the licenses and all that. We've opened a lot of eyes, which has been great, super super cool to see. But it was also neat to kind of like take a trip back and see some of those people that are really just like interested in what Dan did from the get-go and have been following him throughout his entire career, even if they're not super into the military thing. They remember that blacksmith shop and everything else that he made. Vlad's Tower, personal favorite. I saw somebody building that on social media, and I was very, very jealous because that is going to be awesome. Yeah, I mean, anytime your vehicles are moved, anytime your vehicles are used by either more than one country or in more than one location or more than one conflict, you definitely have a better chance of getting something that's not American being made. Personally, yeah, I mean, I do some stuff. I'm a castle builder. I don't know if I necessarily like anything that's super official. I am getting the updated blacksmith shop, um, but outside of that, I'm a D&D player and Brickmaniac builder because the military stuff is what's awesome, man. I like building tanks. Putting together a chassis for me is a little bit more fun than said floating tank. A comic for the Randoverse is an excellent idea and definitely one that we've kicked around. We just need time to do that kind of stuff. And we've got other stuff that people want us to get to as well. So everything's a compromise, when you're dealing with a hectic schedule and you're trying to make as many things as we are. You want to make sure that you're still creating art while doing it realistically. Bren Carrier coming back. That set is retired, I believe. So it might come back in a different form. I believe it was Canadian the last time it was around. So maybe you see a British version, something in the future. So solid little mini kit. They can always use little updates. Especially, I don't think the gun last time was perfect calibered. We've been enjoying that, which I think is awesome. I mean, I think these last two Jeeps or last two 4x4s have been really nicely indicative of those. Do you want just the Jeep itself because you just want the bricks, or do you also want the GI with the perfect caliber brick arm included with it? I think originally, or not originally, but in the past, we've kind of just put out just the Jeeps because we assume that people want to buy a bunch of them or build a lot of them. But now it kind of seems like people are just interested in having those GIs too. And so I think the same thing went for the military MPs. Instead of having standalone ones or whatever released later down the line, why not just put both of the MPs that you need for the set into the kit itself, which is cool. How do we redo? Will there be Brickmania shoulder patches? Heck yeah, there's going to be Brickmania shoulder patches. We're going to have patches for each one of our stores, which I think is going to be awesome. Yeah, so if you are a regular at any one of our Brickmania stores, very soon you will be able to have your own patch to represent that store. You can adhere it to your Brickmania swag. And then we'll also have obviously patches for each one of our stores. So if you travel around and you visit them all, you'll be able to collect those, which who doesn't like collecting patches? That's not a military thing or anything, right? No, absolutely not. No relation there whatsoever. Sorry, it's a Monday. Not trying to be sarcastic. Well, I am, I suppose. But yeah, that'll be cool. I definitely agree. Good morning. How do we new or redo an old set? Well, an old set is mostly having to do with there's a couple of things that go about it. One, there was a play function in the last set that wasn't perfected or wasn't where the designer originally wanted it, even if it's a different designer. Or two, there's been so many new parts since that set was made that now it is time to go through and kind of do a reskin, if you will. So most of the time that has to do with just, getting angles a little bit cleaner or working on some sloping or getting stuff to just look a little bit more accurate. Maybe the pass one was a little too big, maybe it was too small, whatever. And so they can fine tune some of that stuff. Mary actually has an excellent eye for a lot of that. Part of the reason why they've been in charge of going back and tweaking some of those things. Either that or it's something like the new Abrams being a great example where the old one didn't roll as well as we wanted it to. Still a solid design, good kit, accurate to size, but it just didn't have that like awesome play feature of just having things roll smoothly. And so that was kind of the, if you look at this model and you're going, all right, I'm going to take this model and I'm going to update it to this model, you make a list from this model to this one saying, I want to improve this. I want to make sure there are part changes here, da 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 da. And then you sit down and you just work backwards through your steps. Sometimes that's a fairly easy process, especially if you are a talented designer. Other times it is incredibly difficult because the reason that play function wasn't there to begin with, because it was something that was very, very tough to capture. But we're seeing a lot of those, people just having the time to sit there and rework some of that. We're seeing it benefit the Lego community big time. If you look at some of the recent examples when it comes to things that, Brennan did with his P-47, that Nate has done with some of his Shermans, that Mary, like I said, did with her tanks, especially those new Stuarts, my goodness. Those are what happens when they've got a little bit of time to sit there and kind of rework some of that, or they've already built stuff in the past and they go, all right, next time around, I'm going to figure out that play function. Because this time I didn't have time or it had to move on, or the bricks just aren't there yet. Sometimes you just need those creative juices to be flowing in the right way too. So that's just how it is. Yeah, there will be more Ukrainian stuff on Wednesday. Check out Dan's Instagram for more info there. Yes, all of the weekend passes for past World War bricks, provided it wasn't the 2017 one in Anaheim, but all from 2020 and on, those will all be honored for 2022. And I believe the blog and website pages are a work in progress, but being updated. Should have some new info on there. The minor country sticker pack question. Sorry, guys, I am trying to get to these as quickly as I can. The minor country sticker pack thing. It's kind of a yes and no answer, because yes, we would like to explore something like that, but it is very difficult to do those not vehicle specific. Um, because it's easier to make them specific to a vehicle, and then you get into a lot of stuff that you have to do instead of trying to just kind of make a generic sticker pack. That's why we've done stuff like flags in the past, so you could have that representation from a plain brick build, maybe with a parade flag or whatever on top. Um, otherwise, if we're just looking for basic markings, that can be tough to generic size, to generic size, to be generic with. Sorry, Monday. Philip, they should have your name on the list. It's kind of one of those, like, there's going to be a giant bouncer. Me, no, I'm just kidding. Um, If your name is on the list because you're on the weekend pass holder, you purchased it. Just whatever you use, whatever your Brickmania account is online, that's the name that you will give at the door, and then they'll be like, "You're on the list. Go on in, get your T-shirt." This guy will have an IFB. It'll be really cool. Secret Service. Just kidding. It's not that official, but it'll be fun. Mixed quality of fake Lego and real Lego to make sets cheaper. Should I even justify that with a response? My goodness. What kind of Ukrainian vehicles would be next? Check out Dan's Instagram. He's deciding that stuff. I believe it's another T-64 in 1/72nd scale, though, I want to say, which is cool. Yes, HBT field caps. John, in case you're just joining us, I was talking a little bit about the 3D print stuff in the past, and part of the reason that we haven't seen things like fast helmets is because we don't want to do like what we've had to do with the HTB field caps, which is basically leave them out of stock for ridiculous amounts of time, because there are other things that we're trying to do. And if you guys haven't noticed, a lot of our minifigures, the standalone ones especially, are fairly 3D print intensive nowadays, especially with Space Race around the corner. So that's definitely become a thing that's you know added to become complicated. But yeah, we don't want to do that with the fast helmets. We don't want to have them be back and then be gone for a long time. Yes, so I believe the railroad stuff is going to be fairly similar to the space race stuff, where instead of having it be like this month is all railroad, this month is all space, we're just going to do it whenever we feel like it, whenever there's a good design, whenever it seems like the right time. We will handle that. Yeah, good. I'm glad you're excited, William. We're excited to have Space Race back more often as well. It was just kind of one of those things where we had to make sure the demand was there, that there were enough people that were interested in seeing that kind of stuff being created. Because as cool as it is to tune into the YouTube channel or to check them out on social media and watch the designers create these awesome things, it is not financially feasible to just create stuff that then people are like, "Well, that's really cool, but I'm not buying it." You know. So we have to make sure that we are playing both sides of it, where we're able to build these awesome things and showcase them and have a good time with it, and keep the lights on at work. That's important too. Or in California. Hmm. Well, I'd say anytime regarding the F-35B question, anytime there's an updated model, I'm probably going to say that the update is superior, just because the updated model has had the previous one to go off of. So it would be a bummer if somebody took a step back from one model to the other. So, and especially with Dan, anytime you get Dan looking at somebody else's build, literally anytime, no matter who designed it previously, you're probably going to see a stronger build on the other side. Just because that's one of the things that he likes to do is manhandle them. So he's kind of like me; he's got big hands, and so he's got to make sure that they hold together. Correct, Zed, on the F-15. We do need permission on that one. Got to do things the right way. Is there a way to make sets more affordable? If there was, we'd have done it. We're operating the exact way we need to right now to make sure that we can continue to operate. We'll be down south before too long, Jamie. Don't worry. We'll figure it out. So obviously the US here is our bread and butter, so that's where we'll get ourselves established first, and then we can look outside, see how global we want to go with this thing, right? But yeah, just to run this down one more time, we're talking all things World War Brick, restocks, whatever's on your mind related to Brickmania. If you got questions, just go ahead and drop them in the chat. Otherwise, it's been a while, been a very long while since we've done any live streaming or answered any questions. And I had quite a few people, both in California and then on social media as well, been mentioning that they miss this kind of stuff. Oh, and then the clearance section, guys. If you haven't checked out the clearance stuff on the website yet, I every once in a while Dan just is like, "There's too many pages. Mark it down. Mark it zero." No, well, not zero, but you know what I mean. For you Lebowski fans out there, and so that's pretty much what happened this last week. Is he was like, "All right, I want to clean some stuff out. I want to make room for new things. I want to not worry about having to restock this stuff in the future. So I'm just going to retire it so that I can build new things." We said, okay. So we cleaned out a bunch of stuff, and there's even more stuff on that list at the store. So basically, what he did is he went through the Brickmania archives, and you can actually see this stuff on the blog. Um, he took the run of the stuff that we were producing, and he said this stuff is no longer going to be produced anymore. And so, which means that when it is sold out, it is retired. So once it sells out, then the display models will eventually hit the vault. But for now, there's still inventory in our stores and online. And so that stuff has been moved into a clearance category, which is where it will remain. So, and obviously that is definitely the way you want to go if you want to get your hands on these builds, because the next time it would be available, it would be in the vault, and that stuff is definitely not on clearance. It's actually more expensive than the MSRP of the original kit because it is literally your last shot at getting a copy of those builds. So definitely worth checking out that clearance section. If there's anything you're on the fence of, trust me, you won't find a better price when it comes to that from us. To get an official kit, and not to mention the fact that it does stack, so you can use your elite. In theory, you can use your elite discount and your and the Beyond the Brick coupon code or whatever coupon code we've got available, and then you're rated an employee discount, which jelly, because I work for that, guys. Okay, yeah. That's a big perk, actually. that's one of the things that everybody loves. How many designers at Brickmania? Well, we've got Dan, obviously. We've got Mary, Nate, Brennan. Then there's Drew, Landon, Slam, Austin, and Amanda are both designers as well. And then there's the outside people like Andrea and Andreas. They're actually two different people. Believe me, they live in completely different places. I've been confused for a long time. I thought they were kind of one, Mobius. No, I'm just kidding, guys. But yes, and then guys like George Hicks, Greg Nation, who's been doing a lot of our recent stuff. We've even worked with other people who have their own outside companies. NK Customs, Nicholas Kramer, great guy. Plain Bricks, Jonah, another great example of that. But just a lot of excellent people in this community. Been pretty excited. Yeah, of course, and you, oddball. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's been cool to see all these people come together and make such awesome stuff. A guest designer, correct. If you're not physically in the building, you are a guest designer. Otherwise, there's the home crew. So, but actually, that's another good point that we could touch on here for a minute when it comes to the outside designing stuff. Very, very cool to have all of those ideas coming in and to open that stuff up to the community as much as we had. But it definitely became more than we could handle, like way more than we could handle. Like the amount of ideas and the amount of, I won't call it harassment, but just the amount of people who were very, very eager to know whether or not they were going to be designing or what was going on was just a ton for us to be able to do. And so we really, really had to roll that back, slow things down. We have somebody handling contracts now, figuring all that kind of stuff out. And so it's a little bit, it's definitely tighter knit and is not as open as it previously was. My suggestion to you, if you are kind of on the outside looking in on that situation, just keep building. That's how a lot of this stuff has gotten going, has literally been either Dan reaching out via social media or, somebody just seeing something and going, that's awesome. Let's figure out a way to make that happen. So just keep building and keep posting. I mean, that's what it's about at the end of the day anyways, is just promoting this awesome thing that we've got going on, not even specific to Brickmania, but just the culture in this community in general. So I won't forget Canapa. Canapa is like kind of he's on the inside too, but he's outside. He's also going to be our new like personality representative in California. So you'll see him at some cool events in the area if you guys are doing stuff, Bricks by the Bay, stuff like that. He'll be our representative in those areas, bringing some builds around, showcasing the Canapa style. I'm sure you'll be able to hear him do his funny voices. He's a great guy. Love John. Yeah, we don't mix We don't mix elements like that. Just not policy. There is a F-117. Yes, there is. I don't think it's in stock, and it hasn't been for a while. And I know that that was a very, very challenging build for Dan, but definitely one that was cool to see come to fruition. And it looks great. Although I'd keep it on the stand and fly it kind of like pistol grip style, because if you try to hold that flat bottom, it's tough. It's very tough. So, all right, well, I think we will probably. I'll scroll through a couple more questions here. World War II and prototype World War II vehicles without. So that's actually not true. Depending on the company that produced them, they may still hold a license over those. That's part of our situation that we are into with the P-51. The B-17 is indeed retired, but it is now on digital instructions. So you can go ahead and download it, build it with your own bricks. And we've even got an updated flesh tone crewman that is available every once in a while. Stay tuned for that. But that's how I would go about it. If you want the B-17, it is more financially feasible ever than now to build it, because you can get the digital instructions, you can order the bricks, put that sticker pack on there, and then over time, collect your crew. Which that's I mean, as cool as crew packs are, and it works for something like a tank, because you want to be able to like pick up all 5 of your crewmen or whatever for a tank all at once. I get that, but man, for stuff like where you're trying to outfit one of those B-24s or whatever, I kind of like that you maybe include the 2 pilots with the kit itself, then you make a standalone crewman, and you give people the option to like take their time to pick those up. So, because it's a little more fun to outfit something once it's built and sitting there and looking at you like, I need crewmen, and you're like, I know, they need to restock it. New minifigs for modern special forces. There will be at some time for sure. You find all the bricks via Bricklink or from Lego themselves. So that's part of the reason. If you're new here and you haven't heard this spiel before, check out the About section on our website. But part of the reason that Brickmania sets have the incurred costs that they do is because Lego does not support anything real military-wise. So all of their violence is in the fantasy realms, and so we can purchase bricks for the same cost as you. But then the Brickmania side of things comes from the design, the instructions, which that's the tough part. I mean, it's not. I should take that back. It is not easy to build the way a lot of you build, and a lot of the way the Brickmania designers build. But the really, really difficult part is taking that incredible build and turning it into a set of instructions that then I can go build. And that is what makes these things worth what they are, because you get to see something that you go, man, I wish I had the talent to build that, and I wish I could have built something like that when I was a kid so I could play with it. But neither of those things are true. So now I need a guidebook to help get me to where I can actually own this thing and have it put together. And that's exactly what Brickmania has been able to do, is allow you to build these incredible things. And yeah, I mean, I never thought I'd put some of this kind of stuff together. I mean, as little as this is, this is just the little bird here. But like, I never would have looked at this and just been like, oh yeah, I can build that out of my own pieces, no problem. Like, I definitely need the pieces ordered for me and instructions. So, which is cool to be able to provide. All right, well, we've gone 45 solid minutes here. How many Humvees, special operation Humvees were made for pre-orders? Are limited to a specific quantity? Well, I think it's probably only a batch or 2 that we're restocking, but it's available right now on pre-order, restock pre-order. Is it limited? I don't. It's not limited. Like, I mean, if you want to buy 5 of them, go ahead and buy 5 of them. Making any stores soon, especially in the middle of the United States. Do you get more middle than Chicago? I suppose not, because it's a little far north still, but we'll see. we'll have more announcements there in time. 2 stores for us in California was huge this year, so that's a lot for now. We're working on that question for you there, Noah. I'm figuring that out. For whatever reason, I thought that information came to you after you signed up to be a world or to be a pass holder, but I could be wrong there. Like I said, see, Lego Fan 10, we've gone back and forth on that a couple of times, but that's just not Brickmania, man. It's just not. It's tough to do that. It's tough to because we want to provide that option, but it's like it feels like we're holding ourselves back when we use printer space for something like that. We want to use printer space to make the next new coolest possible looking thing we can, not necessarily to backlog and fill. And not to mention the fact that then like once you make like some simpler, cheaper, easier figures like that, there are other people who are going to want then what they want in that form, and then we really don't have the print capacity to do uh, lots of those. So I understand. I really do. I feel your pain because like I want to be able to buy a whole bunch of GIs or something like that too. Go back to the army builder days, and there may eventually be an option for that out there from somebody, from us, maybe, who knows. I don't know what the future holds, but for now, I think that's tough. That's a tough sell. We used yes, that is definitely the origins. You heard right, Sharkman. That is definitely the origins of Brickmania. Before Bricklink was as established as it is today, it was often easier to just go buy sets, especially when they were discounted if they had a lot of dark bluish gray and whatnot in there, and just part them out. Not fun, though. By the way, if you, I know a lot of you have done probably a lot of sorting in your lives, but it's not exactly a very fun, a very fun deal to sit there and sort, especially when you're just excited to build. Hawker Hunter, that's cool. Totally possible. Never know. Everybody's got thoughts and ideas, right? The hardest part of designing a kit. Well, that would be a better question for a designer. But from having talked to them and in the interviews that I've done, I would say that it is probably that the unexpected angles or anything like bulbous or smooth, kind of curvy, difficult to capture depending on the elements that you have and the amount of space. I mean, scale is definitely up there as well because if you've got weird shapes and small scale being size, because obviously the scale is still 135th, but that'll be the tough part. I know that speaking of the World War brick mocks, I know that a lot of it is first come first serve. Um, I don't think that you're allowed to just like roll in there with something absolutely massive and roll down and take up like a whole bunch of space. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong on that. But I do know that like depending on the spot that you want, you do kind of get to mark your space um, when you show up on Friday. It depends on the. So we have a targets for prices. It's talking about this question here for brick limit. We know when we're building something that we don't necessarily want to, especially when there's a lot of hype around a new tank or something. We don't want to necessarily like blow it way out of a bunch of people's price range because we're just adding a whole bunch of extras and cool stuff onto it. So we will not necessarily impose a brick limit because we don't want to limit people's like the actual build itself getting to where it needs to be to look like the vehicle it is supposed to represent. However, we will at times be like, all right, let's tone this down on the printing or change this or whatever, make it this a little less extras on top kind of thing, so that we're moving something down from instead of a $350 kit where we're looking at more like a $300 kit. So, oh, and Dan is telling me the flat 36 was missed in the morning email. Bummer, bummer. He probably doesn't know I'm live streaming right now. Ah. The first set Brickmania released would be the blacksmith shop. What helicopter is better, Huey or Black Hawk? Are you talking builds or are you talking like in real life? Because that would depend on the armament. A lot of our tanks have interiors, especially Nate's newest ones. And Tiger 131. That one has a lovely interior. And some other ones you wouldn't expect. Yes, the blacksmith shop is very old. It is indeed. All right, I'm going to give this a little bit longer here and then I'm going to wrap it up. So if you have any last no sticker full printing element set as the future direction. Yeah, of course. I mean, we're absolutely putting the we're striving towards that as much as possible. But we also recognize limitations and we don't want to like I mean, as much as people prefer printing, sometimes a sticker is just a cleaner route to go. It just looks better, especially if you with how good the color matching has become. Where do you find your designers? Usually underneath various bridges in medieval towns. No, I'm just kidding. It happens in various ways. So there's a lot of people with histories and in all sorts of different backgrounds. There's a careers page on the blog as well as the website. Keep an eye on it. Anytime there's stuff being posted there. There we go. Got some last second coming in stuff. Updated mouse. Yeah, yeah. At least it's on digital instructions now. At least now it can be. At least it can be built. All right. Can the minifigure box be improved? It's hard to stack. Careful what you wish for, because if we change our minifigure packaging, it may not open without being damaged. Right now, I think the clamshell things are pretty sweet because you can put them right back in their box and look them like brand new if you want to. But that is not how a lot of collectibles do it. Get a better camera for the knotty pine backdrop. Thank you, Paul. It was fly by the seat of my pants, okay? I just decided to pop open the laptop and do this thing. I gave very little thought onto how I was going to look or whether the background was going to look nice. So. Emmy 323. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, sure. It's at some point. It's possible. So it's usually a collective discussion from the design team when discussing the themes or direction that we want to go, deciding on how that stuff gets set. But remember, the schedule is like months and months out. So it's not something where it's like, can you build this? And we go, sure, someday, and then it's out next week. Because we've already got stuff set very, very far in advance. But we also keep that fairly close to the chest at times too, because we won't want to have other people swooping in and building stuff. Raid Shadow Legends. All right. Well, I think I'm going to call it a stream here. So thank you very much for joining in. I hope I was able to answer some of your guys' questions, and then we're not going to get. Don't worry. So we'll do this again sometime, and I'll try to let you guys know, see if we can do it more often. But thanks for tuning in. Be well. Have a great week, everyone.